I heard like 3, 4 different stories before I heard the real story. First story I heard was, it was a man and woman. They was like Bonnie and Clyde. They tried to rob the officer, so the officer shot him. Then the second story I heard was they tried to take the officer gun. They end up shooting him. Next story I heard was, she was laughing and pointing at the officer. So the officer thought they had a weapon, end up shooting them. So it was like different variations of the story that I was like, wait, who y'all talking about? I said, because I know that ain't Rekia. Nah. So once I came out about Rekia and started like pushing who she really was and all that, it's like, oh, no. Your sister ain't do nothing. Your sister was innocent. So why is she dead? And why y'all trying to make her feel as if she's guilty, for being shot? I don't get it. Rekia did have a special kind of energy. Rekia was the one to say, I love you, I miss you, or come and try to kiss you on your cheek, or hug you. She was the affectionate one. I called Rekia about 7-something. Hey, baby girl, hit me up when you get this. Let me know you good. Usually when I hit Rekia up, she'll hit me up like, hey, bro, I'm good. I'm still over here. I'll be home shortly. All right, cool. I never got that call. When I lost Rekia, like my whole life, it was like I was watching a movie. I knew I had to go and fight because the way my mom and them taught me was, somebody hit your sister, somebody hit your brother. You better go out there, you better get them back. I'm fighting against one of the biggest gangs in the U.S. How can I get them back without them getting me first?
I'm Chris Colbert. Thanks for tuning in to Say Their Name, brought to you by DCP Entertainment. This series takes a deeper look into the impact of the assault and killing of Black people by the police and in stand your ground states. We share the stories from families who have been negatively impacted in these situations. We did not talk to officers or to governing bodies, just the families and their support systems. We are not the court of law, nor do we try to be for legal purposes. We are not here to presume guilt or innocence for anyone, because, quite frankly, we do not want to be sued. We simply want to give the families a voice while examining what happens when the hashtags stop, and the news, unfortunately, moves on to the next big story. All we want to do is give the families the opportunity to control their narrative and share ways we can all help. Warning. Some of the discussions may be particularly disturbing and even emotionally overwhelming at times. When one of those moments occur that may be particularly triggering, you will hear this chime. For more specific details on the timing of these moments, please visit our show notes. On this episode of Say Their Name, we focus on Rekia Boyd. On March 21st, 2012, Rekia Boyd, affectionately known as Strawberry or Kia, encountered ununiformed officer Dante Servin while she was with a group of young people in an alleyway across from Douglas Park on the west side of Chicago. The officer pulled up to the group, words were exchanged, and the officer opened fire, shooting Antonio Cross in the hand and shooting Rekia in the back of her head. Rekia was transported to a local hospital, where the family's best option was to pull the plug due to Rekia's severe lack of brain activity. Soon after, her family came together for her funeral and homegoing celebration, and her nephews, whose lives she had touched, shared a beautiful dedication.
They made a video. Well, they had drumsticks, right? Made a beat and just started talking about her. Started talking and rapping and singing about Rekia, how they took their auntie, went from a rock and roll song to, one of my sons even put on a little Spider-Man glove. He was with it. He just, and he had the little guitar they used to play like different sounds, and he was just at it. Others were playing the drums on a little plastic thing we used to use for their clothes. He was just going at it, and I was like, wow, this was amazing. You never know the effect. You know how a lot of people be like, they too little. They too young to understand. They too little to understand.
I had no tears, I thought cry. Look at my IG and I see people just fighting for their lives. Mama's crying, up on her for their son dying. Homicide, don't think they want me alive. Traumatized, so I be so traumatized. Why they lie? I hate that they said mama cried. Homicides, oh so many homicides. Traumatized, don't think they want me alive. I put the post down in your hand of everybody stand. This ain't no anthem, but I'm trying to fight the ones who is dead. Can't say too much, they out to give me, oh man, I can stand them. Somebody die love and expect me to understand. Trying to get out, I could look like somebody demanding ransom. I wanna go back to the past and everything was so random. Who say they got my back and they really don't. They don't see the pain in my eyes, man, I swear they don't. Man, I cried so many nights.
The homegoing was so big and there was so many people whose lives she didn't touch and whose hearts she didn't touch. It was like, wow. The wildest thing is her funeral, or was that the burial? It took place on April 3rd. Her friend Ika that was with her, she said her mom brought them 2 bus tickets to go downstate. She joined the nursing program downstate. They was going to help them with jobs, provide housing, and help them attain a nursing degree. I didn't find out that she's supposed to have left on April 3rd, a day before at the repast. I was like, what a coincidence. She wanted to surprise us. So she was going to tell us the day before that she was leaving. And I just remember Rekia always telling me, I got a surprise for you, bro. You're going to be real happy for me. Watch. You're going to be real happy for me. I didn't find out until after she transitioned that. So her friend told me that. I was like, what? She's like, we supposed to left today. I got the bus tickets right here. We supposed to go downstate and do X, Y, Z. And I was just like, wow.
Beyond Ika's pain of knowing that she was attending her friend's funeral instead of beginning their trip together, Ika also struggled with what happened the night when she was last with Rekia, because they were together when Rekia was killed.
I blamed Antonio for Rekia getting killed. It's like they just shouldn't have said nothing to him. They should never said nothing to him, and she felt like Rekia would still be alive. But the officer came and he just acted on his own free will. Antonio, he said, they put 3 stitches in his hand. 3. His hand started turning green. I said, bro, he got bailed out. And I remember seeing him. I said, dude, you gotta go to the hospital, or they gonna have to cut your hand off. So he went to another hospital and they did his hand right. Like, man, they gave me 3 stitches, treated me like shit. But he was very animated. He said, man, we was just walking to the store, man. Walking to the store, I was going to get some cigarettes. You know, they wanted something to drink or whatever. And, you know, I'm going to get some chips and everything. And that's when he came. They arrested him from the hospital.
He did. Yeah, they charged him with aggravated assault or something, misdemeanor assault or something. Yeah, because, you know, the deal was if Antonio was charged with something, then the shooting became justified.
Krista Noel, activist and founder of Women's All Points Bulletin, advocated for the rights of both Rekia and Antonio. With the aggravated assault charges looming over Antonio's head, they court-watched, meaning that the public can observe and take notes at court proceedings. The data that is gathered is generally used to inform the public, the legislature, and interested or invested organizations. So, by helping Antonio, they were hoping it would help Rekia's case as well.
She just, I always joke with her, like, she an angel. She just appeared out of nowhere and never left. She just came around. I don't know where she came from. I just know she came around and then she just started schooling me on stuff.
I'm just Krista Noel from South Side of Chicago. Oh, Women's All Points Bulletin. We are women who have been victimized, and most survivors of police violence. So we were created by women for women. And we advocate on behalf of women victims, those who can't speak, or we assist those who are still here in speaking out and or getting some type of justice, more so peace, because justice is so hard to define for everybody. So we try to get some kind of peace. So we made sure that Antonio won his case. So we court watched that case. And there was one time when the state's attorney's office played a game on his lawyer and said that the date of the case was a different day. And we were there in court and they were calling him and he wasn't there. I was texting him, where you at? They're calling you. And he was like, what? I said, and I'm calling him up. I'm leaving the courtroom. I'm calling him. You have to get in here. You have to, because they can dismiss it if you don't show up. And it was a game that they were playing. He made it there in time. They set it aside and he made it there in time. But he showed me in his calendar how they had said a different date, and I was like, okay, well, you didn't hear him when they changed it, but that's okay. I got him.
They end up dropping the case due to his lawyer say, if y'all don't have any evidence, then y'all need to just drop this whole thing. And they end up dropping it. They was just holding on to him, just to make it seem like they had a case. But they didn't have a case. Said he had a gun, but it showed on record he was on the phone for 18 seconds for the call drop. He said he had the phone up to his ear. He was walking, talking with his cousin. Officer came. That's when the things took place. He was like, man, he tried to kill us, man. He said, dude tried to kill us. He said, man, if my hand wasn't like this, I probably would have got shot in my head.
Though the charges against Antonio Cross were dropped, Officer Servin's defense case was just beginning, and Martinez realized he had a bigger battle ahead of him if he wanted to get justice for Rekia. But there were a lot of challenges he had to face, starting with evidence.
So they let him tamper with evidence. He got back inside his car and moved it to the other side of the street, to let the ambulance come closer, even though he wasn't blocking them. The issue that I got with this is, it's like, number one, your car is now part of a crime scene. People said they heard about 12 shots, but only 5 shells was found. If you shot inside of your car and the bullets was ejected from the gun, a lot of times the bullets are ejected, they fly backwards, which means you had shells inside the car. They found 5 shells outside the car because you got out the car and continued to shoot. So those are the shells they found, but what about the shells that was found inside the car? They never brought that up. Prosecution never brought it up. And that was like a big issue of mine. Whenever I brought it over to the state's attorney or whatever, they kind of just looked past it a little bit. Never really brought it up. They used to always ask me, are you a lawyer? I don't need to be a lawyer to know how to read. I told them, I'm pretty sure I read the same book you read. In order to pass your bar, I don't have to be a lawyer to know how to read. The charges that was supposed to be, because I'm going back and forth with this prosecutor. I want first degree. They offered me second degree. I'm fighting for first degree. And I'm even like, well, is it true that you can always downgrade on a charge but not upgrade? Well, Martinez, it don't work like that. Well, tell me how it works, because I read it works like that. So that means if I put a first degree on you and it doesn't fit, we can downgrade it to second degree. It don't work like that. You either take it or leave it, second degree, basically. In the end, after weeks, end up taking second degree. Not happy with it. When they announced it, they announced involuntary manslaughter, reckless discharge, reckless conduct. Well, Martinez, what you think is what the prosecutor tell me. I say, man, what the fuck you mean what I think? We supposed to get second degree murder and you gonna come out with involuntary manslaughter? Well, we spoke about it all week, which that was a lie because when they announced it, it was a holiday, which I think it was Memorial Day weekend. So I know the offices is already closed. And I know y'all wasn't here discussing no case. We discussed it all weekend and this is the best thing we came up with. I said, nah. I want second degree back. Well, Martinez, that ain't how it works. Well, how does it work? Because I didn't agree with those charges. Nobody in my family agreed with those charges. But yet you saying that ain't how it works. Well, tell me how it works. And he wasn't lying. Because they showed me exactly how the system was set up to work. The lawyers did not give a fuck about nothing. I just felt like they was all working together. If I would have known about a special prosecutor, I would have did that. I didn't know about none of that. I wasn't coached on getting a special, because I would have definitely listened. People started getting special prosecutors, I think, after the case with me dealing with Rekia. If I would have known about that, because I was trying to find somebody, because I didn't trust him. Because every time I asked a question or showed something, it was like, well, Martinez, it don't work like that. How do it work? Tell me. You can never tell me. We gonna take yours out, but you're not getting none of ours. I didn't expect him to go down because the officers work in the same building as the prosecutors. Y'all buddies. I'm pretty sure the judge is too. So why are you gonna let your friend down? Why are you gonna take him down? I didn't expect that. You know the crazy part? I met the officer face to face. Dante Servin. But he wasn't serving nothing. He needed to change his name. Dante Servin. I even went inside his house. I met the officer face to face, went inside his house. So I was doing a documentary on crime in Chicago. Some folks from France reached out to me. Hey, we with French Public Access Television. We doing a documentary on crime in Chicago. Are you interested? Yeah, sure, why not? They came and we was in the alley where it happened at. I'm telling a story, and as it was filming, the officer pulls up. So when the officer pulled up, they say, who is that? I said, that's him. I never seen this officer before in my life. I only seen him in my vision. They say, how you know? I said, trust me, that's him. So he drive down the alley, he get out. So he's looking down the alley, unlocking his gate. Drive his car in, then he come out. Who are you people? So he say, my name is Eaton. I'm with French Public Access Television. He say, I'm doing a documentary on crime in Chicago. This is Martinez, Rekia's brother. It's like, wait, you're Rekia's brother? And I was like, you feel that anger, that pain, that frustration, and the first thing that you want to do to him. But then again, I had to think smart, right? So I say, yeah. He said, can I get a hug? And I just stared at him. And he came. He was like, look, man, I've been trying to get in touch with you. I've been trying to get in touch with your family. I was going to come to your house, but I figured that would be a bad idea. Look, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. I never meant to kill her, man. I never meant to shoot her. Your sister was an innocent woman. I don't even know what she was doing around him, but I'm sorry. Now, my pain is lifted now that I'm able to apologize. He said, but that motherfucker right there, that motherfucker, I tried to blow his brains out. But now everything is calm and, everything is cool. So he was going back and forth. He went from being nice and like, oh, I'm sorry, to that motherfucker, I wanted to blow his brains out. I wanted to do this and that. Then now I'm at peace. I pray to these three angels every time I leave this alley. There go one right there, there go one right there. So the guy that was filming, he like, stop putting that fucking camera on me. I can't be around this guy. He's still trying to talk. Well, I'm so sorry that she was taken away. He's like, I told you to put that motherfucking camera away. You know what? That's it. So he goes inside his gate, pop his trunk. So they're like, oh shit. I was like, don't worry. I say he ain't that stupid. So he popped his trunk and he was like, yeah, I got something for you. Pop his trunk. He pull out some groceries. I told y'all I got something for y'all. And hand it to the cameraman. Help me bring him in. He like, come on, y'all can come in. So he go unlock his door. The cameraman grabbed the groceries. So Ethan, he held me back. He said, Martinez, I'm scared. So I looked up, got my confirmation from the sky. It was like, everything's gonna be okay. I said, let's go. So we go in his house. He was like, yeah, I can sit on the couch, and there's 4 of us. So we sit down, he pull a gun out, and he look at us. Then he sit it on the table. I'll be back. So they on the couch, like, push back, like, oh, shit. I said, he ain't that stupid. We okay. He leave for about 2 minutes. He come back like, that's better, man. I really had to go. So now what y'all want to talk about? Got this big ass, I don't even think it was a 9. It was bigger than a 9. Probably like a snub nose 357. Silver, pearl white handle. I remember it like it was yesterday. So now what y'all want to talk about? So they look at each other, and that fucking camera better be off. So they like, we just want to talk about what happened. You say, I talked to y'all about everything but what happened. If y'all want to know what happened, come to court August 12th. I'll tell everything. Which, by the way, he didn't show up for that court appearance. So he's talking like, man, this is a really nice neighborhood. I know everybody around here, everybody like me. He was like, so they still trying to poach him for what happened. He said, you fucking French don't give up, do you? He say, man, gosh. You motherfuckers don't give up. Man, I used to date a French woman. Yep, dated her for 5 years. I was over there, man. I was in love with her. And then, so they finally got him to start talking about it. He was like, all right, I came in about 10:30, 11. I see some people arguing in front of my house. I think it was your sister and one of the guys. So I go in, get washed up, and throw some clothes on. Now I'm hungry, finna go get me something to eat. I come out, now they arguing on the side of my house. I jump in the car, bag it up, unlock my gate. You see how I gotta get inside the gate. I unlock the gate, drive out, lock the gate back, drive to the mouth of the alley, they right there. He had words. It was nothing negative. So I pulled my car out the alley and I stopped. And that's when it happened. So they say that's when what happened. Did he have a good weapon? He's like, if you want to know, you got to come to the court. And then he said, let me ask you this. What's faster, a bullet or a Ferrari? So they said, a bullet. He was like, yeah, even if a Ferrari was faster, I wasn't driving one that night. So they looked at him. He was like, if you want to find out what happened, come August 12th. He ended up talking a lot more about different stuff, just rambling on. I ain't say nothing to him that whole time. I was just letting them just gauge questions. So we walk outside, and he's like, oh, yeah, you didn't see this right here. He pointed at the no parking from here, Look, you ain't see that. He showed me a dent in the pole from a bullet. Yeah, I bet you ain't see this, did you? I bet you ain't see this. Yeah, they came up, and I was like, pow, 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 pow. And I got out the car, pow, 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 pow. That's when I hit your sister. Sorry, man. So, you still gotta hold your composure. So we walked to the corner. He said, so what do you want to see happen? I said, I want to see you go down. He said, well, that ain't gonna happen. He said, I'm gonna tell you what to do. Go to court, sue me, sue us, get paid, go live the rest of your life. I said, nah, I want to see you go down. Well, I tried to warn you. This is a really nice neighborhood over here, man. Really nice neighborhood. Look, anytime you want to come over, you want to bring your family, anybody you want to come talk to me, just come knock on my door. Like, we can sit there, watch movies. Shit, you just stare at me all night. Even if you just think about the different thoughts or feelings or emotions that go through a regular person's head, it's like unlimited, right? I don't even think, the scary part is I didn't have feelings that night. I think like just talking to him, he knew how dangerous I could be, so he was trying to take me off the street. Like if I made a move, he put the gun on the table. Maybe he thought I'd grab it, he could shoot me in his house, come up with a story. Brother came back for revenge. I'm outside, I do something to him, he end up shooting me or whatever. Oh, I shot the brother for trying to sneak over here into, he's trying to create a story to get rid of me because I'm the most vocal. Or he's trying to see me get pissed off. See, a lot of things that people didn't see when I've been in this fight. A lot of people didn't see my anger or me getting mad or agitated because I knew this is what you want. This is the story you want. This is what you want me to show. And I felt like if I showed him that, then now I'm giving you the satisfaction that you're looking for. He wanted that story. And I think he wanted like, oh shit, let me take this brother out. So it won't be no more of this. From my understanding, this is from the community standpoint, he was an asshole. From my understanding is he didn't like the noise across the street. He didn't like people hanging out across the street. At that time, he was off duty. Let him tell it, oh, I came in from work and I went to go get a hamburger at 1 a.m. But they said that he came in at about 11 talking trash to them. And then he came back out. What was his motive? I'm not sure. But he was off duty, in plain clothes, riding in a Mercedes-Benz. Nah, he wasn't on duty at all. Now, he could have mental health issues because, like, even in court, he had a little slight tick, blinking, He probably seen a lot on the streets which caused mental health issues throughout him. And that's one of the biggest issues I have right now. That I feel like that's lacking from police departments is the accountability of the mental health issues. Okay, I went through this trauma of losing my sister. They're not forced to go to counseling unless they want to. They're not forced to get mental health help unless they want to. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's up to them. But any person that's going through a crisis, how many people do you think that's going to actually reach out and say, I have an issue that I need to help contain? And then when we finally went to court, so they tried to say the shooting was justified at first, right?
It was really interesting because the judge felt that the witnesses weren't credible because nobody knew how many times he shot. So he's expecting that in this situation where you're being shot at, that you're going to count the bullets correctly or you're going to even hear them correctly. Supposedly he shot 5 times, but they were saying that they heard about 14 shots. So you're talking about being close enough to hear the flashbang and the bullet, right? Because one is the bullet breaks the sound barrier, but the flashbang makes a noise too. So you hear poof, poof. If you're close enough. Very disappointing to have gotten charges and the sellout from the state's attorney, Anita Alvarez. She said that she was going to charge him with second and then decided not to. And there was a moment where it was like, do we come out on the street to get her to charge him with second, or do we just trust that she knows what she's doing? I said we should trust her, and she didn't know what she was doing.
And then when we finally went to court, I just knew we lost. They let the prosecution go on. Defense didn't have to go on because they did a directed verdict, which basically the prosecution didn't have enough evidence in order to take him down. The prosecutor didn't fight for us. We wonder why he didn't fight back on certain things, or he basically didn't say anything. So he didn't have to say anything. He was slouched in the chair, wouldn't even look back at the family. Like, it was a big setup. If anything, this was a murder. So it should have been charged as one. So first degree or second degree would have took him down. But by them downgrading to involuntary manslaughter, they knew exactly what they was doing. And that's how he beat the case.
judge was like, you should have charged him with first degree because all police shoot with intent. So on one hand, it was this beautiful opinion that made, that set precedent in the sense that he determined that you should never come from the point of view that a police officer pulling his gun is not intentionally trying to inflict great bodily harm, right? It's intentional, it's willful, it's deliberate when a police officer pulls his gun. So on that side, we had this wonderful opinion and decision. On the other side, he decided to let him walk away, and he didn't have to.
It is intentional, and the crime, if any there be, is first-degree murder. The motion for a directed finding is granted. There is a finding of not guilty on all counts, and the defendant is discharged.
Yeah. Judge said it was clear-cut murder. The crazy part, they did it to the point where it was done with prejudice, so we wasn't able to retry him due to double jeopardy. So that hurt.
What was your family's reaction to hearing that?
I was silent at first because the judge said, now, when we walked up in the courtroom, dropped my mom and them off, so I came up in the court building last. I see German Shepherds. Had about 3 or 4 on the first floor. I said, that's weird. I never seen no dogs up in here. Go up to the 6th floor, more dogs. I said, they got these dogs for us. So just to see, I walked to the bathroom. He's going to the bathroom. Come out. He just got out the bathroom. He's about to walk in now. So when I walk in, everybody was like, the judge say, now we can start. Judge say, before I get started, this is court of law. If any outburst of anything happen, you will be held into contempt of court. And he looked down over at his glasses at me. I say, Mom, is he looking at me? She's like, I don't know. So he say, again, any disruptions, outbursts, or anything, you will be held in contempt. I said, I think he talking to me. So he read off different charges, first degree, second degree, involuntary, all the meanings and everything. And then he said, the charges don't fit, basically. If anything, it was murder, not guilty. And he said, court is in recess. Hurry up and got up. Like, he ain't even finished saying court is in recess. Court is in recess, and he got up, started walking away. And I got up. I say, what? Not guilty? Man, that's some bullshit. And I started walking out. This short Cook County sheriff, bald head with glasses. He said, hey, you need to sit down and shut up. And I stopped mid-stride. And I said, who the fuck you think you talking to? This motherfucker just killed my sister? And you want me to sit down and shut up? Man, fuck you. The whole courtroom went up. I think I started charging at him. I probably did. I don't know. I got surrounded by police. Cook County Sheriff, my people surrounded me. Like, yo, don't touch him. He said, don't touch him.
It's not a joke. These people who lost their lives, it's not a joke. You can't calm that down. You can't keep telling me to shut up. I can't keep shutting up. I shut it up. This been 4 fucking years. And what happened? What happened? All y'all did was fuck me.
We still with you, Monty, man.
I am Rekia Boyd. 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 I am Rekia Boyd.
I am Rekia Boyd.
They trying to put my hand behind my back, but it's like my chi was so strong. Like, they couldn't even move my hand. I was just like, don't touch me. Just standing strong in my space. My people around me, like, don't touch them. It's just like yelling, hollering everywhere. I think what really made me mad is they didn't want us to wear no activist stuff. And we was like, all right, cool. Police can't wear no police stuff. But on that last day, a whole bunch of officers came in police gear. It's hurtful. But for him to blatantly disrespect me and my family I need to sit down and shut up because I've been fighting so long for my sister. Yeah, that right there just really struck a nerve.
We blame the state's attorney. We voted her out.
The Illinois Supreme Court here has consistently ruled that one can perform an intentional act recklessly. And I believe that that's what we have here. Before I brought charges, I analyzed every part of this case. We looked at the case law. We looked at every potential charge that we could bring based on these facts, including first-degree murder. So we looked at that, and we looked at the law. And based on the totality of the evidence in this fact pattern, I believe that the best charge was the involuntary. I do believe that his acts were reckless. And as a result, I believe that the decision that Judge Porter made is incorrect.
With Judge Porter controversially dismissing the case and all charges against Dante Servin due to a technicality, Servin walked away from court a free man, only stripped of his police powers. Martinez and his family did experience a victory in civil court, though it didn't come without its own set of problems.
That was one of the fastest settlements ever. We up here trying to fight. The lawyers are trying to get a settlement. And that was crazy in itself to where, we going back and forth with the court. Well, the judge, lawyers, and our lawyers in a room. So they come out. They say $500,000. They say $1 million. So they start really low. And it's like a whole back and forth. And it was like, forget it, let's go to court. Judge well, you can go to court, but I think that's a fair settlement. You don't never know what a jury can say. They can say much higher or they can say way lower. If you leave it in the jury's hands, it's just like, if you want my advice, I think that's a good price, whatever. We end up settling. Then we end up getting sued. That shit was crazy. Now, you already got to pay a lawyer 1/3. Then her other siblings from her daddy's side come out. And it's 10 of them. So they want a piece of the money. Got sued for $750,000. All because, and our lawyer's well, if they interacted with her or whatever, then they can get a piece of the money. We had a case where it was a lady that wasn't even as close, got $250,000 off LaTanya Haggerty.
LaTanya Haggerty was a 26-year-old computer analyst who was shot by Chicago police in 1999 after they mistook a cell phone for a gun. Her family won a wrongful death suit totaling $18 million, the largest of its kind at the time. The family of Rekia found themselves in a similar situation, having been awarded $4.5 million, but having to fight against various lawsuits to keep the settlement.
I was like, what? It's like these people ain't never even been around. I say about 2 of them I seen, and one of them acting crazy. I had to fight for Rekia case. Had to fight against them. Suing my mama because we was all let it go to you. Mama got health conditions that'll help you retire, take care of yourself and all that so you won't further be stressed. So that whole situation was just crazy. It's the blatant disrespect. They ain't even coming to no court cases for. They never showed up to nothing. I don't even know if they showed up to a funeral. I think some of them showed up to the funeral. But they ain't showed up to nothing for. They ain't had no support for. Of course, they used to do a Facebook thing for, let's wear her favorite color, pink. Favorite color was yellow. Yellow. Love Tweety Bird. But it was just crazy. I never knew. So we was just fighting that. Then on top of that, you got to fight other activists. The activist world crazy because you got some planet activists within certain groups. Shit, one of them is my niece and nephew daddy. You know what I'm saying? So it's it went from, what you telling me? Oh, you should throw the brothers about $20,000. For helping along with the campaign. I looked at the phone. I said, man, I ain't thinking about no motherfucking money right now. My sister's in the grave. And you talking about money? Man, you could push on with that, Joe. And since then, He spread a rumor. Some of his West Side buddies. Rekia's punk-ass brother or something like that. Which I never even focused on them because I know what y'all trying to do. I'm at most of the events by myself, so if y'all really felt that way, you would have did something. He knew how I rock. He knew my energy. And he knew he wasn't on that type of time. So when I was in the same room as him or something, I see him ducking and running out. Literally ducking. I see you, dude. Who you ducking from? I've been seeing you. So just fighting against them, fighting against other activists on the streets, the interrupters or whatever, fighting this court case, trying to keep my sanity, trying to make sure my mom is okay, my family is good. Shit was crazy. Still in school full-time, working full-time, still traveling around the country to like push Rekia's story, trying to make something happen and shake. Like, it's been crazy. It's like the lawyer get they cut, whatever expenses that occurred, and then, you know, them suing us for $750. Yeah, she probably ended up with like 2.
And what of Dante Servin?
Well, she died 3/21. Well, we pulled the plug on the 22nd. 3/22, 2012. Court 4/20/15 was the verdict. Took 3 years just to find a way to get him off. Lori Lightfoot ended up hitting me up. At the time, she was the head of the police board. She saying, you know, I'm sorry to hear about the verdict, but we gonna go ahead and put him through so we can see if he gonna get fired or not. I'm gonna tell you the downside of it is he can resign anytime he wants. That's the loophole. And that's what I expected him to do. He could resign before he faced the music. So when it got 2 days outside, Lori called me at 6 a.m. I just want to be the first to tell you that Dante just resigned. So we won't be having a court in 2 days. I said I knew it. I knew it was going to happen, so I ain't even have my hopes up. So that's something that we've been trying to get changed.
Due to Servin's resignation, records show that he is collecting a police pension of about $57,000 a year.
That shit hurts. It hurts because it seems like he's been paid for a death, like you're a contract killer. Like, how dare you even think about being able to pay him from the taxpayers' money for a death? Like, that was a slap in the face. That's why it's important to read up on policies and learn some of this stuff. Like, going through this process, it's been tough because it's like you got to revamp your brain. It's like learning everything all over again. Like, I'm back in preschool. It's a lot of stuff activists and all that talk about, and a lot of different policies and stuff I'm learning about I didn't know about. I was happy just going to work, going to school, coming home, playing a game, chilling with the fam. This has changed my life. But to learn that, I was trying to find out how to stop it before it even happened. It's just a slap in the face. Some months back, he tried to get his record expunged.
Because he wanted to be a police officer. Down in Florida somewhere, they offered all police officers who had been fired for killing people jobs.
Had a court hearing for that. And his lawyer's like, yeah, you know, he did all these wonderful things and all this and that. And I didn't know if they was on expunge it or not because I thought it was a one-day deal. So the judge like, you got to come back the next week. But luckily, it was a judge that understood the situation. And he told him, just because you haven't been convicted of the crime doesn't mean that you're not guilty of it. I don't think now is the time to ask for anything to be taken off your record. So that brought some joy right there. I even tried talking to him. I said, you want these people off your back? I said, I got 3 things I want you to do. Number 1, let's go do an interview, like a 60 minutes, something like that. Me and you, let's do an interview. Have somebody pick it up. You tell your side, I could tell my side. The second thing, I said, you got a lot of police friends, a lot of people that got money that don't know what to do with it. I said, I'm trying to build something for kids. I said, why don't you talk to your people in power and tell them to fund some of the things I'm trying to do so these kids could be out these streets by the summertime. I forgot exactly what the third one was. I'm trying to think. It was something else. But I said, if you do these 3 things, maybe the people will start backing up off of you. And they really believe that you didn't mean to take my sister off and that it was truly an accident. Whatever you want to do. Well, just draw it up, put it in my mailbox, knock on my door, whatever. You know where I live at. But when the judge denied his claim, you seen all that shit just turn away. Yeah, you walk straight out now. You know what I'm saying? But I knew his heart and his feelings wasn't into it.
Martinez Sutton didn't let his fight for justice end with the court cases. He dove deep into activism. He wanted to fight, even though it was challenging. And he had help from Krista Noel.
It was one of the toughest fights that I ever been through, that I ever had to battle. Because, I had to figure out, like, all right, now which way do we go? I heard about police taking folks, kidnapping them, beating them up, shooting them, and I was very vocal. At that moment in time, and still now, I wasn't worried about getting beat up, stabbed, shot, disappearing, or none of that, because you took away my sister. Now, I know I can wild out, I can go fuck the police, I can, do a whole multitude of things. But I know I'm being watched. I feel like you taking these lives away, you don't care about the families. You don't care about nothing else that comes behind that. When a person is taken away, slain, and stripped away from the family, they think that's the only person that's affected, when that's not. That's not the case at all. They got all these inner circles that you done destroyed, from the siblings to the parents to the friend circle, even whatever close circle that each one of us have. You done destroyed all that and probably messed all of us up mentally. So depending on how many folks is in that circle or in those multitude of circles, that's how many lives you done destroyed or disrupted. What if Rekia had a family? What if she had a child that was here? It's like a great path of destruction. That right there made me see like a bigger picture. To whereas I'm like, there's nobody out here protecting my sisters. They just letting my sisters continuously being stripped away. There's nobody talking about them. I didn't know that many women got killed by the police. I didn't know that many women got assaulted by the police. I didn't know that many women been stripped away from their families, because you do not hear about it. Why? Because they don't have no negative story to put to it. The media don't have nothing negative to push with it. So they don't want to talk about it, because it's not really a story to them. But I always had to push her name. There was still protests. People still fighting. People still talking about it. A lot of the activists, some of them I still rock with to this day. Different organizations. One of them that's been around, Krista, she just really fought for, made sure things was going right, checking out policies. I think she wrote some Rekia's Law.
Rekia's Law is part of an ordinance that would remove the authority to investigate alleged police misconduct from the current system of mayoral appointed boards, and instead transferring it to an elected board of 22 Chicago citizens, one from each of the city's police districts. And at the time of this recording, Rekia's Law has yet to be passed.
There's still people talk about her. I meet people and be like, yo, my professor was talking about your sister. So she's been taught about in schools. Every time they mention everybody else's name, people still mentioning her name. A lot of girls, one of the groups I work with, A Long Walk Home, the Girlfriends program, they always uplift Rekia. A Long Walk Home is an organization. It's like a girls-based organization. Basically like an artist mentorship program. So the different artists that they may have, it's like the ages are from 10 to 18. They help mentor the girls for the different arts that they may have, like dancing, singing. I don't know the exact name, where they blow the glass. They made like a beautiful yellow heart in memory of Rekia. It's dope. You have some that do poetry. So it's just different forms of art. And then photography. It's a year-round program. A lot of them, like, at the end, they'll put on a big showcase and performance of their arts, they dances, they singing, and everything. It's dope. It's like her name is still out there, buzzing, like, due to the stories that we told about her and who we let people know who she was and what she represented. And that's like pure love. You cannot just push away pure love.
That sounds awesome. Have you seen an upsurge of like a lot of organizations kind of coming forward and helping uplift her name? Like, has the NAACP been involved?
Nah.
Nah.
And so NAACP was weird in the beginning. They wanted me to fill out an application and all this other stuff in the beginning. You know, it was weird. I was like, for what, right? And I think I filled it out and I never received anything. Like, you know, so people will say they'll rock with me from NAACP, but they didn't, right? Jesse Jackson's organization, didn't see nothing from him. He actually whispered to me, it's like, hit me up whenever, you know, her name get a little bigger.
He said that to you?
That shit hurt.
That's awful.
You know, his people wanted me to work with him years later, like his sons and stuff. Like, I don't know what my daddy did with you, but we ain't him. We'll do X, Y, Z. But I really didn't want to mess with him. I look up to this man from when I was a kid. Like, this is what you hear about. Like, and then you tell me something like that. Like, that shit hurt. I mean, even the other activists was like, man, bro, you should. I'm like, nah, I'll find out a way on my own, you know? But I seen a lot of organizations come from this. I know A Long Walk Home was around, Good Kids, Mad City, We Charge Genocide, BYP 100. And some of them started going to other groups, Asada Daughters, or it was one group that was dope called Fury. It was a feminist group. One of the organizations I'm in is Justice for Families. So we kind of help love on each other and help elevate one another to the next plateau. Can I speak to other families? Like, folks will call me like, can you speak to Breonna Taylor's family? Hey, can you speak to George Floyd's family? Or, hey, can you speak to Andrew's family? From the known to the unknown. One of the biggest things that I'm doing now, I do therapy, right? And I'm in the midst of trying to get my license so I can start teletherapy. But I also don't like traditional therapy. So what I'm trying to do is, well, what I created, which is almost ready for release, is I'm becoming a life coach for the families that's been traumatized so I can help them and not be held down to the ACA code of ethics, which is what mental health counselors go by. So I want to step outside of that zone. And also, no license is currently needed. So I won't be limited to just Illinois, but I'll be able to help families in all 50 states, or 52 if you count the others, Puerto Rico. I work at the University of Chicago Medical Center. My position is violence recovery specialist. What a violence recovery specialist is, I deal with all violently injured patients that may come through our trauma bay. As soon as the person comes through the trauma bay doors, I'm in there with the doctors. While they being worked on, I'm trying to connect the families with them. I work with anything from gunshot wounds to stab wounds, domestic violence, or just intentional violence, you know, anything of that nature that may send you to the hospital. That's what I work with. We work side by side with the trauma doctors. My job is to not only connect the patients with their families, but to also advocate for them while they're here and even after they leave the hospital, and also to help provide services. Some of the services that we may provide is if some of our patients may come in homeless, so we help connect them with finding shelter. Some of them may need food, so we help with food security. Some may need mental health services due to the extent of their injuries. After you're violently injured, you come across a lot of acute stresses. So these acute stresses gonna cause you to have like recurring thoughts, cold sweats, nightmares. It's gonna cause you to get angry, be nervous. So we help with those, and we help with mental health services, and we help provide many other services. It's a brand new program still. In Chicago, we fought for this trauma center to be here. We fought for trauma services. We finally got it around 2017, I believe, towards the end. And this program started in 2018. So yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, your body is recovering not just from the physical, scars that you may obtain, but you also got to take care of the mental. So it's like two parts or two steps to the recovery process to where like, okay, the doctors is going to do what they do, but we also going to do what we do. They help you with the healing portion, but we help you with the whole healing process, which may include that mental process. If you don't have a good mental, then you can't take care of your physical. So, and that's what we step in. The experience of this program it's definitely been up and down. I love it because we're not really micromanaged here. So it's like you got the free will to do what you need to do and to connect with the patients however you need to connect with them, as long as you follow, like, I'm gonna call them our bylaws, right? And the main thing is to make sure they have and make this comprehensive recovery. So that's the main thing we looking out for. The good thing about the job is connecting with patients and being able to connect them to different services and everything and just interacting with them. Some of these patients don't have families that come see them. Some of them don't have nobody to call to check in on them. And some patients don't have nowhere to go. So just being able to interact with them, see what kind of person they was and see what kind of person they are now, and being able to help them to that next step in life, it's an amazing feel. But the bad thing about the job, which it's always good and bad about some jobs, right? The bad thing about the job is some people don't make it. Seeing people coming into the trauma bay being worked on or already coming in dead, right? It kind of hits you in a way to where you like, oh my gosh. I remember the first day I worked here. I'm sitting in a room being trained, and then we get an alert on the phone, and it's a traumatic arrest. And a traumatic arrest means like you coming in dead. My supervisor like, come on, we got to go answer this call. It was like, it opened my world. You just see them coming through the trauma bay doors and just being pumped on, bodies not moving, lifeless. After they called it, doctors make that moment of silence, and it's just sad. It just pushed me back to losing my sister again. So I was like, I don't know. Why would I leave from working with a school to come to a hospital to deal with this? So it really made me go home and like rethink my priorities. Like, I don't know if I'm really, ready for this. So, but I ended up coming back the next day. It ain't pushed me away. I don't scare easily. So,
Though Martinez works in trauma and finds various ways to cope, the family dynamic most certainly has changed with the loss of his little sister.
It's like, have you ever went into a room and a light blew out, and then you go searching, searching around for like another light bulb. You probably don't even have one, available. That's how it feels. Like Rekia was like this ray of sunshine. She came into this room, we just dead with energy. Like our energy is just low. She finna come in either, hey y'all, or she finna start messing with us. She finna start heating one of us, like cracking jokes and all that. Or she finna do something to bring that energy back. She was a room shaker. If you ain't know she was there, you'll know by the end of the night. But it wasn't like one of those annoying, it was one of those like pure love. And that's how she was always rocking it. She was a ball of energy. She loved to enjoy herself. Whether it's doing the dozens or whatever, dancing, she was just open to everything. That spirit being snatched outside your life, snatched away from your life, you notice that change. It's like your energy ain't as high as it used to be. The love ain't as strong as it used to be. I think it put a damp on all my family, especially my mom, seeing from what she used to be to see her slowly dwindle away. Because Rekia always came in there kissing on her, love you, Mom, and all this and that. Like, that's who she was. And my mom missed that. The love been snatched away. Yeah, it's been tough without her. On Rekia's birthday, we still go celebrate. We started doing a thing. She started Krista Noel. We started Rekia Smiles, which is We throw comedy shows because Rekia loved to laugh, so we get comedians from around Chicago, whatever, come on, tell jokes, make people feel good and laugh. Instead of thinking about the sad times, like, let's think about the good times she used to have. Let's celebrate her memories. And another thing we do is poetic justice. We do poetic justice around the date that she transitioned. And what poetic justice is, we get a bunch of poets, singers. The first time we did it, people just putting on poetry and singers, but now we making it a competition. People just come out and perform and do their thing. We keep our memory alive twice a year. This whole experience been a hell of a journey. It transformed many lives, good and bad. You never expect nothing like this to happen, to impact your life in this way. My life has been totally turned around. A lot of things that I'm doing, I never even thought or dreamed that I'd be doing. Rekia, she was a free spirit and she never gave up. She was pure love, and I started to just take after her in many ways where, like, now I tell folks I love you now. I open up a lot more, and I started to see myself as being more so a free spirit. I always had it in me, but I always analyze things before I take that step. I'm starting to walk in the way of Rekia and enjoying life. It's so much that's happening out here nowadays, and life could be snatched away at a moment's notice. It's some people that we wish that were still here, and I'm pretty sure it's a lot of spirits that's out there that wish that their bodies were still in the physical form. I just want to live the way of Rekia, enjoy life, become closer to folks, be social, and live it day by day and create something amazing. I still do like some of the things I didn't notice that I was doing. Like, I help take care of a lot of folks. I speak and preach about a lot of things. I help create a lot of things, but I found out that, like, my only downfall in doing it is I give out so much love that at times I forget to love myself. Definitely got to remember to start loving on me just as much as I love on everybody else. This has definitely been a journey that has not even came to an end yet. I say it's only still beginning. These 10 years, almost 10 years, wow. It feels like it just happened yesterday, so.
My last question is, what do you feel like our listeners or anyone should be doing to or can do to uplift the name of Rekia Boyd?
It's a lot going on inside these families, and it's breaking us down and causing us to be like a former shell of who we used to be. And it's stopping us from being who we want to become. To uplift Rekia, remember her name, remember what she stood for, which was pure love. And love on your people, love on your family. Matter of fact, turn around and go tell somebody you love them today. It won't hurt you. Because believe me, if that person that you know you love disappeared today, you wish you had that last time to say, I love you.
Martinez continues his fight on behalf of his sister's legacy. He is still pushing to get Rekia's law passed, and he's trying to create an organization called Rekia's Haven, which will be a safe space to help resolve the problem around teenage homelessness. If you're looking for ways to be of service, please visit our show notes on ways that you can get involved, including supporting Women's All Points Bulletin and pushing your local officials to end qualified immunity in your state. Later this week, make sure to check out our bonus material for more information about Rekia Boyd and this case. Special thank you to the family of Rekia Boyd. Names of the fallen mentioned in these episodes: LaTanya Haggerty, Trayvon Martin, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Rekia Boyd. We appreciate you for listening to Say Their Name, courtesy of DCP Entertainment. as well as special thanks to our team, host and executive producers Adell Coleman and myself, Chris Colbert, producers Heather Johnson, Ryan Woodhall, and Mike DuBose, associate producer Quinton Hill, and editor and sound designer Byron Hunt.